Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 21 of Conscious Caregiver Conversations. I have absolutely zero idea what is on par for today's conversation. It has been a very interesting day, and I see Sammy hopping on now. So we will see. Just waiting. Here she is.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning. Hello.
afternoon.
How are you?
I'm okay. It's really early here, and I've unfortunately woken with a bit of a headache. So I'm just putting my oils on and doing the things to support myself at the moment. So yeah, it's all good.
All right. Well, I'm sorry that you're not feeling great this morning. We will keep the conversation short. Is there anything in particular that is on your heart today that you want to bring to the table?
Um, I think it's really good that we always come here quite real, and we have in previous conversations. And I don't know exactly how to language this yet, so probably not a topic for today necessarily, but I am not in love with my nursing career at all.
Mm.
I've tried a different facility and a different position and tried to get my old position back when a different position didn't work, and it's just been a nightmare. And it just
Mm.
hasn't felt like, after 16 years of nursing, mostly in the same sort of public health system, that I'm wanted or needed or cared about. Um, yeah, so just a bit disheartened, really. And so I might not be the best one to sort of chat about nursing at the moment, but I think it's really important that we come on quite real. Like, there's so many external things that do affect us, and I'm sure you agree, Jenna, like we never dismiss that, and we never dismiss the systemic support, or like the systemic changes, sorry, that are, needed in a lot of different areas of nursing as well. But yeah, I'm just feeling a bit disheartened at the moment. So I'll find words and I'll be able to come back on. But I just thought it was really important to be honest, and probably the reason for my headache, it's causing other different areas of stress. So even if it's something systemic, it's like, well, as within, so without. Like it does has such a connect, because we're connected human beings, and we're in a very caring, connected industry and profession as well. So just wanted to touch on that, but I might
Yeah.
hand it over to you to see where you're at.
Oh, well, let me just say that I'm sending you lots of love and just holding space for you because I think that's so important. I know on this on this, these discussions that we have and everything else, we've discussed the idea of toxic positivity. And, that's exactly it, right? Like, we're not here to say, like, nursing's great and nursing's not the problem. You are. Like, that's not what this is about, Like, one of the things, and it's actually something that I heard when I used to attend church all the time, but I think it's so applicable to just consciousness and the spiritual journey that Samantha and I are now on, is that it's okay to not be okay. We don't want you to stay that way. And so the purpose of the work that we do and the work that we desire to teach others, um, and the what we want you to find within yourself, is that you have tools and the ability to navigate and shift out of these spaces, but it's also important to honor the space that you're in. And so right now, I just really, want to honor the space that you're in and the fact that, it's not the greatest of spaces, but it's in all that we do and all that we navigate through in our daily lives. It is important to sit with it and to allow the emotions and to emote in whatever way that you need to emote, or whatever feels good to you in that moment. It's not about stuffing it down. It's not about I'm just going to shove it back down and rationalize everything and all of that. That's not what this is about. This work is actually about really honoring all spaces, the not so great spaces and the good spaces, and allowing what needs to come up to come up. And so, I just really honor you in that and in the space that you're in. And certainly, I know that you have the tools and the support from me and our community and others in the spiritual community, that you will eventually find the path out and be able to shift into a better space. But for now, this is where you're at, and that's okay. And the important piece of that is that you do have the tools, and so you'll be able to work through and navigate what you're going through. But it's also important in through this journey that you are really honoring where you're at right now, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, thank you. And sometimes you just need to hear those words. Like sometimes you can know, we've spoken about this too, you can know, but really like knowing is another level of depth. So thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, it's so funny because when I was under the veil, if you will, of my anxiety medication, I was so much more, in some ways, go with the flow and, whatever happens, happens. And I'm not happy with, what's going on in this space, but whatever. And I'm so much less of that now. So, just to give you a little hint into my world, I've been between jobs at this juncture, currently onboarding for another hospital in the area to go back to the bedside. And it's been quite the process. It's been very in depth, and just the background checks that they do, and just the whole process has been a little more in depth than what I'm used to. And certainly, as a nursing director at my previous facility, I pretty well know what's involved with onboarding, right? So it was like, good grief, and this is corporate healthcare, and there are pluses and minuses to everything. And this is kind of one of those things where I can appreciate how thorough they are, but also the time it takes in which to find out that you're cleared is a little bit crazy. And so I had my onboarding appointment on April 2nd. It is now April 17th, and because I am a little neurotic, and kind of reached out to my corporate HR person and was like, what's going on? Am I cleared? I need to buy scrubs, like all the things. I ended up getting a phone call from her, and earlier today, as I was on my way to meet my friend at the beach, and she still was like, well, we haven't heard from employee health. And I'm like, what do you mean you haven't heard from employee health? It's been how many weeks? Like, cut me a break. You know what I mean? And I was a little upset. Like, I was a little like, oh my God, like, I'm starting this new job in 5 days. I still need to buy scrubs. I might need to order them. Like, I know I'm not really going to need my scrubs for next week, but still, like, at this juncture, like, why don't we know? You know what I mean? And so I did actually get an email like maybe an hour ago from her saying, like, good news, you're cleared. But it's like, it's this balance, right? Like I remember even last week, my dad was like, "Well, why don't you just reach out to her?" And I'm like, "I was literally just there the week prior. I'm gonna allow them to do their thing. I'm gonna, let the whole process breathe. But by Monday, if I don't hear anything, I'm gonna reach out." Well, then my HR person was out on vacation for 2 days, so she didn't return until today. So it's like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? And so it's like, that balance between like trusting that what's meant for you will find you, trusting that what's meant for you is going to happen, but then also like wanting to make sure you're doing your due diligence, and then it's like being in that void. And it's so needless to say, um I'm a little more neurotic than perhaps I was for the prior decade. But the good news is that I'm cleared, and I can go buy my scrubs. I'm gonna go shopping tomorrow. Tomorrow's shopping day, because I need to buy all new scrubs because they wear a completely different color than the color I've worn for the last 5 years. Of course. So yeah. So everything is moving forward in that regard. I've been able to get more involved and spend more time at Spiritwell for those of you who follow me, and you see some of my posts and stories. I help write a newsletter for Spiritwell Sensory Lounge, which is this beautiful complementary therapy small business in a nearby town to where I live, and they have a collective of practitioners that do all kinds of the work that Samantha and I so love in terms of energy work and consciousness work and breath work and yoga and just like all the things that truly I believe is the essence of healthcare. Like I think our medical system really is primarily meant, not in totality, but primarily meant for sick care when we do have, diseases and disorders that need attention. But healthcare really starts before you even get there. Healthcare is about what you're doing day to day, how you're supporting your body's functioning day to day. What are you eating, and how are you moving your body, and are you hydrating enough? And the breath work and getting in touch with your soma and tuning into the messages that your body is giving you before it gets to the point of needing to go to the doctor or needing to go to the hospital. And so it's just so beautiful to be involved with them. They just celebrated their 2-year anniversary. And my vision is to see more places like Spiritwell pop up around the globe, because that's healthcare, and that's how we support one another in community. And it's just great to be involved with them. So I've been able to be a little more involved with them. I've been able to get to the beach. I spent last week visiting with my parents, and so it's been really refreshing, really healing. I received a beautiful message today. Again, if anybody follows me and sees my stories, I received a beautiful message today through an oracle card pull of the Phoenix Rising, which means that I am coming out of another like huge layer, stepping into another level of awakening. Finally, it's been a lot. And so to get that card, to pull that card and get that message was like, woo, ta-da! Like everything that I have been working on within myself and everything else is coming to fruition. So I'm in a very different energetic space than Samantha right now, which is okay. We're polar oppositing today, if that's even a word. But yeah, so it's been good, and I've just been able to nourish myself and really sit with some things more. Because that's the thing that we have to realize is we have this tendency to keep busy, and it's okay to be busy and it's okay to be doing, but a lot of times in the doing it is a distraction from the things that we need to confront. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to slow down and be intentional and sit with your shit, as you all have heard me say so many times, because the people, so many of the people that I truly see in a quote unquote workaholic type mode are in avoidance. Because if they keep busy, then they're distracted from the things that they don't want to think about or sit with. So that's that's really been a lot of what my 3 weeks off has been about, is sitting with my shit.
Yeah, which is really important. And it's not easy to do, especially growing up,
Yeah.
perhaps making an assumption here, but perhaps where we've sort of always unconsciously or subtly really just been told to, you know, be happy and, positivity and like that toxic positivity and just keep going. And well, especially here in Australia, we have a very, we'll put your big girl pants on and keep going sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I totally agree that it doesn't help to just dwell in a very low energy or low vibe, but and that's why coaching tools and different spiritual tools help, because it helps alchemize and shift those low energies so you're dealing with them now, like you said, Jenna, and then they can be transmuted and they can be alchemized, and then you can move into the next passage season as it needs to happen, rather than just, oh, yep, got to get there. And yeah, I just had a visual of like a little energizer bunny, just
Yeah.
like keep going, keep going, keep going sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then usually it's then our body gets to the point of being like, well, this is enough. I'm going to stop you right there so you can deal with some of this. And yeah, that's when it comes up. So yeah, it's very true. And I'm glad that we're able to come on a conversation and show in two very different, like, I'll just use the word seasons, for another, um, for a word to describe, but like it's really good to see that, we don't have to be a certain way all the time, and we don't want to come on here and have conversations where we're just in a certain way all the time. This is very real conversations. This is usually conversations of things that are happening in real time as well. And I think it's important to see that journey. So you can go back to other episodes or forward to other episodes and you're like, oh, okay, well, Jenna's worked through this or Sam's worked through this. Even if we don't give specific details, you can see and feel our energy and where we're at. So yeah, all of that's really important. And I'm so glad that you've had some time to sit and reflect and just to breathe a little bit as well. So yeah, that's all really important. And again, we can know, but it's actually knowing and embodying that as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And sometimes we know, but it doesn't quite lock in yet. And I think we've talked about that before too. And so, and that comes. I mean, I've had so many epiphanies during this week, mostly about ways in which I cause my own suffering, and just the mind's ability to create things that are simply not true. I mean, it's really, really powerful. And I've had a lot of aha moments with regard to, like our one of our mentors, Echo, talks about with fact versus fiction. I mean, just the mind's ability to create these stories to keep you paralyzed and keep you small and keep you stuck and keep you in fear. That has been so much of the healing work that I've done over these last few weeks. And even today, I had a moment, which could take us down a little bit of a different path. And, in honor of what Sam is feeling today and what she's navigating, I'm not going to take us down that path because I want to keep this short for her today. But just, yeah, it's been a lot. lot, but in a good way. Doesn't always feel good. Hasn't felt good a lot, but it's been good. It's gotten me, to a space of, just feeling really good about things. Um, and yeah, just one of the things I will say that I've learned a lot about that I'll just kind of bring as a final thought with regard to this healing work is the importance of presence. Um, I've been navigating through a lot of nostalgia type things, which I think I've also kind of brought up in several of our previous episodes. Um, And when I was with my parents, who are very different in many ways than how I grew up, some really good, some not as good, um, but just that ability to embrace and accept change and to realize that things are never going to stay the same. And I think I had even written Sam a message at one point, in regards to my visit with my parents, and just remembering like there are things that I miss from my past, but at the time I was wishing them away. Like I couldn't wait to be done. Like there are memories that have come up for me in regards to high school and some of the really like nice times that I had with my social group and things like that. But at the time I was like, I can't wait to get out of here. And I just think that it really speaks to the importance of presence and really finding ways, even when you are navigating through challenging times, as I know that Samantha is doing, is really just being present and appreciating, finding things to appreciate in the now, because there may be a time in the future where you go back and go, man, I really miss this, and it's like, but you don't want to have those feelings of, I wish I was back there, because you want to know that you fully appreciated that time when you were there. And so really trying to focus more on being present and not being so future focused, which by the way, is also where anxiety comes in when you're like focusing on the future and trying to control everything. But if you can just be present in the moment, and coincidentally, I will just say that if you don't follow her or are not aware of her, it's like amazing how this is aligning, but I'm just going to throw it out there. So, our mentor, Echo Summerhill, her handle is literally at Echo Summerhill. She is doing this little 30-day challenge right now where she's really focusing on presence and not planning for the future. So if you have the ability to and are able to stay really present, I strongly recommend that you check out her reel about this challenge. She just posted it today, and consider joining her in this challenge, because it's talking about what I'm literally talking about now, which is just really being present in the moment, appreciating what's around you, what you have, who is in your life in the now, and not worrying so much about what's in the future, because one day you're going to miss this. Did you lose me, Sam?
I so I got something then. We might have. Sorry, Jenna. If you can hear me,
I can hear you.
I can't hear nothing anymore.
Uh-oh. Samantha lost me.
If you can hear me, I did hear about the presence and the challenge. So yes, it's so true. I will hop off now, but I hope I'm not interrupting anything that you're saying, because I've lost visual as well. But that's okay. We will survive. We'll take care until next week. But thank you for all your wise words.
All right. And on that note, I'm going to close out this week's episode as well. Thank you to anyone who has hopped on. You can catch the replay on Instagram, and eventually, like maybe in the next day or two, I will get this episode along with the last two episodes uploaded to YouTube. Have a great rest of your week, y'all. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.